Welcome back. I got tons of shit to cover, so we're going to get right into it. I think because the kids just went back to school, I want to talk about what I learned in school. Not every kid gets out of high school and goes to college. So, my question to everybody is, do you think your kid's getting the most out of elementary school, middle school, and high school? I have discussions all the time where I think some of these courses that we're giving these children really are unnecessary, and some of the ones that we should be giving kids aren't being instituted as far as credit building courses. I feel like if you get out of school at 18 and you decide that you don't want to go off to college, how do you know how to build your credit, which in the long run is a super big part of your life? I feel like we don't have enough financial classes. When I say financial classes, I'm talking about money management and ways to invest your money and how to build a portfolio, things like that. Now, I know you didn't tune in today for life lessons and things like that. You want a good little chuckle. Let's just talk about what your kids are going through in school right now. First off, I want to start with science class. Now, science class was actually one of my favorite classes to take because it kept me involved. And again, everybody's going to have different feelings on this, but for me, it was something that interested me. But what I learned from science is that science is not a perfect science. Most of what we talked about was just scientific theory, and in the real world, none of it can actually be proven. I mean, how awesome is this? You want to be a scientist, you make a hypothesis, you test it, you're only right some of the time, the rest of the time you can still be wrong and still get paid for it. Or think about this, in science class you learned about the weather. Let's say you graduate and you're leaving high school with your diploma, you're happy as a pig in shit, you trip over a rock, you bump your head on something, you get complete amnesia. Guess what? You can still be a fucking meteorologist. It's a job where you only have to be right 50% of the time and you will still get a paycheck on Friday. Think about if archery was your shit and you went to fairs and you wanted to do trick shots and you would bring someone in from the crowd and put an apple on their head and you were going to shoot at it, but 50% of the time you hit the apple and 50% it landed right in their fucking eye. Would you have a job? Now let's think about this for a second. Meteorology is the study of the atmosphere, okay? But when I think about a meteor, I'm thinking about some big piece of shit from space coming in and crushing everything and causing mass devastation. If this is about to happen, if there is a meteor shower about to rain on your parade, do you want the weatherman telling you what's about to happen? Or would you want somebody that's right a little bit more than 50% of the time to tell you to get the fuck out of your house and head for the hills, Sally? Other things I learned in science class. Bunsen burners are an awesome tool for lighting blunts. Because let's face it, dissecting frogs is way cooler when you're high as fuck. Other things I learned in science class were don't play golf when there's a lightning storm going on, because when you go to backswing, you're out in the middle of a field, your club is way up in the air. You could be a conductor, you can get shocked to pieces. But if you want to fly a kite with a key attached to the bottom of it and lightning hits your kite and it comes down and fucks you up, you're not a dummy. You can actually be a genius and become famous as fuck someday. Subsequently, if you're a person that's okay with being wrong most of the time and you want to get a paycheck for it, science might be your profession. Math class. Math was awesome. I actually really enjoyed math because I felt like this was really a tool that I was going to use in the long run, and I did. Up until they started putting fucking letters in there. What the fuck are letters doing in my math equations? You ever been sitting around with your friends and you're like, all right, listen, I want to do a new patio, and you know what? It's 10 by 12, and what do I need for materials? And your friend's like, I don't know, throw a fucking X in the math equation, that'll figure everything out. No, that shit don't happen. And honestly, in the real world, when do you fucking use this shit? Kids, I'm not saying that you don't need to learn this shit. I'm just saying you'll probably never fucking use it. I know half of you are sitting there in class right now on your iPhone figuring out your math equations anyways. What the fuck do we need algebra for? And then you get into calculus. Holy shit. Calculus and algebra, the shit gets a little bit crazy, okay? Let's talk about the real world. If you want to stop right there when you start putting letters into it and teaching kids about how to pick the right mortgage for them when they get out of school, that might be a better way to go. You know, interest rates and how it affects you in the long run and how much money you're going to give to the bank for free. Maybe we should teach that. What do you think? Nah, you're right. Kids probably don't need that. Just keep fucking them up by putting letters in their numbers and shit they'll never use. Here's an idea. What if we put numbers in alphabet soup? The fucking world would probably spin off axis. So if we're not doing it with soup, keep it out of my kid's math class. That's all I'm going to say. Moving on. Health class. What did I learn from health class? Well, you don't want to have a baby in high school because the little dummy ones that they give you are tough as fuck to stuff in a locker. And that's it. Music class. What did I learn in music class? We watched Fiddler on the Roof. That was a waste of fucking time. Now I'm a beast on a recorder, alright? Nobody's gonna fuck with me when Mary Had a Little Lamb. But when we were in class, this other kid used to play hot cross buns way better than me, all right? I started thinking, I'm like, this little fucking prick, he crushes hot cross buns. But when we get out of here, I guarantee I'm going to get a better job than him. And I did. But that little prick stuck with it, and that in return means he's going to land one of two jobs. He's either going to be at Saratoga Racetrack over in New York, playing his tune before the horses come out, or two, he's going to end up in the army, and he's going to be out in fucking war, and he's going to be the only one with a bugle and no gun playing annoying fucking bugle tunes while bullets whiz past his head. Either way, I don't know, brother. Which leads me to history. Now, what history taught me is that back then, people had a lot of pride, but they were some dumb motherfuckers. You would get a gun that would contain one bullet, and you would stand in the middle of an open field facing your enemy, and you would try to shoot this gun and hit the other motherfucker that has the same gun with one other bullet in it, and hope that you hit him before he gets his shot off, and then you have to take a timeout for 5 minutes to reload your gun. Now, wouldn't it have been better to stand behind a tree and shoot at these guys? You know, maybe get a little camouflage or something? And who the fuck thought up these get-ups that these idiots were wearing? I mean, honestly, you got these big red fucking trench coats and silver buttons and you're going to war. What the fuck happened to being discreet? You look like Kat Vaughn on a red carpet event. And in all honesty, a lot of this stuff, we're not even really sure if it really happened. I mean, who was there? Do we got film of this? Or we just got books of what people wrote and said happened? Hence the name of it being called His Story. If I write a book and it's filled up with a whole bunch of nonsense like, so I'm riding down North Street on a purple unicorn and I'm chasing dragons and yada yada yada, does that mean that's what we're gonna fucking teach kids in the future? Come on. How about gym class? I love gym class, but what did it really teach me? It taught me that in dodgeball, you always aim for the fat kid because that's the easiest. The life lesson there is don't be fat or you'll always be a target in life. Although I did learn CPR, and even though I haven't had to use the head tilt chin lift maneuver yet, I dare one of you motherfuckers to try to die in my presence, because you know what? Coach Quadrosi taught me how to be a superhero, and I can't wait to pounce on you and blow fucking life into your lungs. So go ahead, try it. I also learned that it's okay to skip music class and go outside and play softball with Coach Lucaroni because he would condone that. And honestly, I think he was onto something. Thanks, Coach. Art class. What did I learn from art class? Well, I'll tell you what. I learned that I suck at drawing, painting, and gluing fucking cotton balls and yarn onto a piece of paper, I'll tell you that much. It also taught me that you can suck at all of this shit and still become a famous artist. What the fuck? If Andy Warhol can draw a picture of a Campbell's soup fucking can and sell it for millions, then a picture of me face down in a ditch with a bottle of Rumble Mints and a dog pissing on my leg should be in every famous person's home, everywhere. And what's up with pottery class? I mean, honestly, 1 out of a trillion people maybe make money off of selling pottery. Is this really what we should be teaching kids in school, or maybe should we go with something that's a little bit more of a sure bet? In my pottery class, there was 20 people. 17 people for their projects made ashtrays. What does this tell you? The other 3 people made coffee mugs. Oh, they're special. Guess what? Those fucking coffee mugs ended up being ashtrays in the end anyway. So what the hell were we doing in there? Even the fucking teacher admitted that this was her second job. Why? Because she wasn't making enough money in either one of them. Is this really what we should be teaching kids? And then we got my personal favorite, study hall. Now, honestly, this is where I learned everything, okay? Time management was the biggest asset to what I learned over in study hall. Why? Because you had 45 minutes to take care of the rest of your daily shit before you had to get back to class and learn some other redundant bullshit. Now, everybody used their time differently. Me, I would sell drugs in the back path. I'm not condoning this, but let's observe here for a sec. I actually learned every single class I was taking in school in that 45-minute period, but I did it on a real-life basis. 1, math. I learned actual math skills. I had to learn weight measurements and money denominations right off the bat. Now let me ask you, I know how many grams there is in an eighth, a half, an ounce, a quarter pound, half pound, full pound, and a kilo. Do you? Go ahead, start now. You have 15 seconds. I'm not going to give you 15 seconds. If you already got those, you were a drug dealer too. 2, chemistry. I learned how much baking soda can be added to your Coke to cut it down before you end up getting beat up for selling some bunk shit. I also learned how much Nesitol could be added before your friend shit his pants in math class. 3, art. I learned the art of making money at an early age. That's the most important thing we're talking about here. 4, gym class. Well, running from the teachers and the cops was enough cardio for me for the day. 5, health. I could teach you the health risks and not paying back your Connect. Or, for the layman's people, you're a drug dealer or a drug supplier, okay? Because contrary to popular belief, getting shot 9 times is not going to make you famous like 50 Cent. Sorry. 6, music class. Well, I guess I would have to say somebody coming up to me and saying, I'll take 4 now and 4 after school, well, that was music to my ears. So that's what I learned in school. And I'm not saying do what I did. And by all means, children, don't do what I did. Please stay in school. There's a lot to learn. Be the best you can be. And I guess in answer to a question of, am I smarter than a 5th grader? Probably not. I forgot half the bullshit they teach these kids these days. But my question to you little 5th graders, do you know how to pay your fucking mortgage? Probably not. But fuck it. It's Monday. We'll see you next week.